Well, hello, this is Christopher James with All Things Branson, and today we get to talk with Barry Williams out here. Hello, sir.
Nice to be here, thank you.
Yes, it's so good to finally get to talk with you. I got to work with you very, very briefly a couple years ago
On
for
a Barry Branson.
No, for the Celebrity Wife Swap.
Wife swap.
Yeah, got to come out and see you and your son and record that.
And teach him a little magic.
We did.
Yeah, it was
we
fun.
did. That was quite a hectic day, though.
He loves it. He loves doing magic, too. He
does.
He continues to do it to this day.
You know what I told him is that I remember when you came to the show way, way back on the showboat, and you actually came out and you got a magic kit.
Yes.
I think for him. So that was kind of cool.
I gave it to him as a birthday gift.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's neat. That's neat. So a couple quick questions for you. Of course, you're best known for Mega Piranha.
Yeah, of
Now,
course. Yes.
You were...
Or
you
Bigfoot.
That's
Mega piranha. These are not,
so many questions
these
about
are
Mega
not,
Piranha.
these are not these piranha. These are not like big piranha or huge or like gargantuan. They are mega.
Yeah,
mega piranha.
We don't hold back at all
No.
here in Branson.
No.
So, but that's what you're most popular for.
Yep.
That and the Cooking Wars, or what was it? You were on the cooking.
Yeah, the cooking channel.
Uh-huh.
That's true. The cook-off, worst cooks in America, celebrity edition.
You must have been proud.
I'm very proud. You know, not everybody can get that job.
Well,
You know, you have to have certain qualifications to be a worst cook in America.
you haven't been to some of the restaurants around here. So, but you do a lot of reality
Are you
shows
naming
now.
names?
Well, not yet. We'll do that. We'll do that during the commercial.
Right.
No, actually. But you do a lot of the reality shows now, and
I've
think
done
that's kind of cool.
lots of television, and of course, Mega Piranha is my proudest reality show for sci-fi.
Because I laughed the entire time. It was great.
That's the idea. It's actually a two boxes of popcorn movie.
Yeah. You know, I love those sci-fi movies, though. I think they're hilarious.
They're fun. That's what they're about. That's what they're about. A little over the top. Reality shows are great to do.
Yeah.
And the quality of life is good. I spent yesterday what is on a golf course, what is now known as Branson Hills. It used to be the Payne Stewart golf course. Absolutely beautiful. My first time there, and you know, who would know? Who would know that these little places are socked away to be enjoyed?
Well, people don't realize that because I used to do a little speech in our show about all of the golf courses we have and all the fishing that's here, and people have this image of Branson. What was your image? What was your perception of Branson before you moved here?
Country music, live country music capital, small little town, middle America. And a place where, with a really healthy entertainment kind of community, and where a lot of musicians thrived. And I wanted to be part of that community. And I came here a few times to kind of check things out, see if it would be a good fit for me, because I knew it'd be a big change for me coming from Los Angeles. And it is a big change, but I really like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and to be able to attract a star from Mega Piranha.
Yes, that's again, Branson is very fortunate in that respect.
We know. We appreciate it every day. But what's your biggest surprise about being here in Branson? Because I'm like you. Before I moved here, I didn't know much about it. They actually called, and I did the same thing. Came out and checked it out. And I assumed that it was country music. And I actually showed up dressed kind of country-ish with a country act.
Trying to fit in right away?
I wanted to fit in.
Well, you're good.
Because I was moving from New York. You moved here from L.A.
Oh, there's nothing like a New York cowboy, I tell you what.
New York City. Yeah. But my biggest surprise was the families that were here in the summertime.
In what respect?
In that I assumed that we had an older audience all year long. Oh. And then in the summer, and that's how I geared my show the first year, 11 years ago. And then in the summertime, we had mostly kids.
Right.
Young kids at the show.
Right. And I'm glad to see kind of the demographic shift a little bit. The seasons are longer now. I think the seasons themselves have changed. There's a spring and a fall that we didn't used to have 15 years ago. And there are a lot more families. My show is skewed a little younger than what I had heard was a typical Branson audience. Now, the first show I saw here was Andy Williams.
Right.
And He had, definitely out the retirement community. As although I was a huge fan too, but my show is really geared more toward families and boomers and that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, my first show was the Presley show.
Oh.
The very first day I got here.
There you go.
Have you seen it?
A few times.
Yeah, that was the very first show I saw, and I thought, what am I doing? I don't do that type of...
It's very patriotic.
It's very patriotic, a lot of gospel music in there. And it's a great show. I love it. But it wasn't what I was doing in the slightest.
Right. Probably not doing a great deal of that in Greenwich Village.
No, not so much. Not so much. But that's the nice thing about Branson is that now I go to shows, for example, the Bald Knobbers show. Not something that I thought I would enjoy, that type of music. But you go and they know what they're doing. The nice thing about Branson is it's very natural selective in that only the good shows survive.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a reason for that. It's
right.
The budgets are high. You need to attract people. And by doing it every day, you can begin to hone and develop the show. You take the thing, it's so obvious what doesn't work because audiences will tell you. And so you start, just kind of cutting that off in a way and keep replacing it with what does work.
Yeah.
So there is a natural selection. And a lot of people come here and think that they can set up put their name out on the shingle and people will come. That's not the case.
Yeah.
And if your show isn't strong, if it's not entertaining, if people don't, really respond to it well, word gets out.
Oh yeah, because I've heard of some big entertainers, Willie Nelson, Wayne Newton, that just couldn't. It didn't work out.
They're not a fit. It's just not a fit for them. And Branson is not a fit for everybody. Right. But for those that it is, it's a wonderful place to be and live. But I think some of the names that have come through, I think Wayne Newton's probably another example. They want to bend the community more around their lifestyle than they are willing to assimilate into the Ozark lifestyle.
And I had that the first year. I was like, this worked for me for 10 years. It's going to work in Branson. It didn't work. It didn't work.
Just some growing. So you asked me what my biggest surprise was here. It's the diversity of things to do. I thought it was, essentially the Strip with theaters.
Right.
And that was it. And when I got here, I discovered how many activities there are and all the things that I love to do and all the things I went on vacation for. The Silver Dollar City and the amusement park, the hiking. I love to ride, but I haven't ridden since I was in my teens.
Right.
And now I have friends with horses. Todd Oliver is a friend of mine. And you may know him from both the boat or here at the Americana.
We worked together for 5 years.
Oh, did you? Yeah. And he has horses and he likes to have them ridden. Yeah. So that works out really well. My son, who's now 13, Brandon, has become really a passionate fisherman. So he's up 5:30, 6 o'clock, and on Table Rock Lake. But he fishes both Table Rock and Taneycomo. And then, of course, all the fun things that you would have in a resort community, the go-karts and the zip lines.
That's all relatively new, though. I think the zip lines and everything.
The zip lines are, but I came, as I say, 6 years ago, and some of those have been added, but many of them have been here since I've been, enjoying life.
Right. Yeah, and we have quite a few of them. I mean,
yes.
There's a lot to, in fact, that's one thing we're doing with our television shows. We're taking teenagers, maybe when your son's in town here, and showing them everything that younger people can do in Branson.
Cool.
So we're renting the little scooters. Have you seen the little red scooters that go around town? The little cars, that coops.
Yes, but not for teenagers, are they?
No, but they can ride with an adult. So we're taking a father and son.
High flag on them.
Yeah. We did a whole day driving around in those, and it happened to be like 104 degrees that day. We got so sunburned. It was terrible. Just terrible.
He likes the segways. And those are fun for him, but I wouldn't want to cut him loose in the little red cars on the street.
Yeah, it's incredibly dangerous.
Don't you think? A little bit.
Yes, like out around the lake. I took somebody for a ride, and they're like, "What are we doing? There's no guardrails out here." There's we were going 50 miles an hour.
You make a good point. What couldn't we build some curbs on some of these roads? At least, just some of them, a little curb, a little guardrail, maybe.
Yeah. That was my biggest surprise. Is because moving here, it's pretty hilly where I was in upstate New York in the Catskills there, and so we move here, and I'm driving out around the lake, out by the showboat, and there's no guardrails. There's
Anywhere.
Nothing.
And they fall off. I mean, you can drop down a couple hundred feet.
Yeah. So be careful. That's our public
especially
service.
Yeah, especially in the winter.
Yes, exactly. So I want to talk about your childhood a little bit, because I've read something, and I need to know if this is true. Your neighbor was Peter Graves?
Yeah.
Really? He has the most haunting voice. Wasn't he doing those unsolved mysteries or something?
No.
What did he do?
We were in the 50s, right? That's when he was next door. But we should probably explain a little bit about Peter Graves.
Yeah.
Because most people know him as the silver-haired Mr. Phelps from Mission Impossible. My favorite show, by the way. And his daughter's my age, and we went to nursery school together, preschool. And he was doing a very different series called Fury. Mm-hmm. And Fury was the story of a rancher, and a horseman, kind of a cowboy, modern day cowboy, who took on, I guess, a relative, maybe it was a nephew or someone from New York, a city kid, and basically adopted him. I guess somehow he lost his parents, and he went to live with Peter Graves on his ranch, which is where I first began to really, really like horses.
Right.
And I watched him on Saturday morning doing this television series. That's when his show aired. And then I got to meet him when I went over for a play date with his daughter. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be an actor. I was inspired to be an actor. So I asked him, I said, Mr. Graves, how did you get to be an actor? And he kind of laughed and looked down and said, well, I just thought about it.
Really?
So
It's that easy.
I went home and thought. And I thought and thought and thought. My parents wanted nothing to do with it, but I kept thinking and thinking, and it kind of didn't go anywhere until later. And then when I turned 11, I kind of marched into the kitchen and told my mother that she was standing in the way of my destiny.
Really?
Yes. And
she probably appreciated that.
And she didn't believe me, but I was very, very serious about it. And so that inspiration, that original inspiration, had stayed with me all those years. And at that point, I went and started studying acting, and went to classes, and went to private classes and group classes with people like Jodie Foster and sort of the actors of the day, and got an agent, and that's how I began working in television.
Wow, how did you get an agent at that age? I mean, had you appeared on any? I know you did Dragnet, right, when you were little. Mm-hmm.
But I had to have an agent to do that, too. So what happened after about 6-8 months of going every week and sometimes twice a week and working with this coach, she recommended an agent and somebody that I could set up an appointment with. And I went in and met with this agency and the owner of the agent, and read scripts that I had prepared and some that I had not. And, it's kind of a bit of a gamble, a crapshoot with these things, because you don't know if it's how well you're doing the reading, or if maybe they just need somebody with brown hair and blue eyes in the stable. But in all cases, it worked out fine, and this agent started sending me out to Universal and to Warner Brothers and to Paramount Studios and to audition, and I started winning job after job after job. And I was actually quite busy for the first 3-4 years before the Brady Bunch.
Did you go back and rub it in your mother's face then and say, see, you were holding me back?
No, because she was very supportive. She just she didn't realize that I was that serious about it. And especially my father didn't. And remember, it was a big commitment for her too, because I had to have pictures, and I had to go on these meetings and go on callbacks, and then I had to have a guardian on the set when I was working and take my schoolwork and that kind of thing, because it's a professional world. Mm-hmm. But there is a bookend to this story. I had just gotten the Brady Bunch, and it had been picked up for a first season. That's 1969, and I went on an audition for a guest starring role on Mission Impossible.
Oh, wow.
And I played a young king, or the role was a young king who, and the mission was about proving that the uncle that I thought was loyal to me was really going to assassinate me so he could take over the kingdom. And so the mission was to prove that to me. And so I got to work on my favorite show with the man who inspired my career on Mission Impossible just before I started filming on the Brady Bunch.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah. And there was a downside to it, too, because at one point in the episode, my character is trying to escape from the bad guys, and in order to escape, because I was a king and I was so well known, I had to dress up as a young girl named Perla. And
Really?
that was pretty much when my dad gave up on the whole show business idea altogether for good.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't like Branson because every show has a guy dressing up.
Well, that's very true. That's another surprise that came. It was wow, there's a lot of drag here. A lot of drag.
There's a lot of drag. Talk about drag now.
There you go.
No, but it is a little weird, I think, that I don't do that in the show. So
You're giving that, that's not part of the
Not yet.
Well,
I
you
haven't.
transform into a woman or something?
No, not yet.
Doesn't
Not
happen.
yet. No, I haven't reached that. It's
coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, a few more years here in Branson. So, but that's neat. So you end up on the Brady Bunch, of course, and of course that's your big. I guess your.
Well, it's close to my Mega Piranha profile.
Yeah, I was
but
just going to say, not quite as big as Mega Piranha.
Well,
But I saw something in the lobby. You guys, I didn't know you had a cartoon. For the show too.
The Brady's have been everything. I mean, a sitcom, a cartoon, animated cartoon show.
Did you do the voices for that?
Yes, but here's something interesting. The company that did the Brady Kids, it was called the Brady Kids. They didn't have a big budget. They also produced the Archies, the comic book Archies, animated Archies, and they had stopped doing that, but they had all of the pictures. And so what they did to save money when they took over the Brady Kids, they put the Brady Kid faces and heads on the Archie characters.
Oh, nice.
Which is why we're dressed the way we're dressed, and we move the way that we move. And so that was, but we did do the voices.
That's cool.
We did.
That's
do the
very
voices.
similar to. There's a couple of shows here in town that changed their cast quite a bit, and I was looking at some of their posters, and you can clearly tell they just put the new heads.
Right,
on.
right.
Budget thing.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But you did that, and of course, you guys were singing for a while and toured a little bit.
The
right?
Variety Hour. Oh, right. We recorded albums, so we were a singing group, and we did concerts around the country. We had a Variety Hour. That was.
Wow.
Don't tell me you missed that.
Oh well, unfortunately.
Oh no, gosh. Well, I'll have to get you a couple DVDs. I used some of that footage in my show because we wore these jumpsuits that were like super tight and sparkly. And then
again, setting up Branson again.
I point out there's nothing has changed, and same old. So we were the Variety Hour. That was a hoot. But we had great guest stars like Donnie Marie. We had Rich Little. We had Milton Berle. We had Farrah Fawcett. We had Tina Turner.
Oh, wow.
We had Rip Taylor. All kinds of great guests that were on. And then so we had a good time doing that. And then the Variety Hour. Then we went. Then we did a very Brady Christmas. We all had a very Brady Christmas.
You guys really milked this, didn't you?
Yeah, totally. It was like once I got into the Brady Bunch, I pretty much became Greg.
Right.
And then we had the very Brady Christmas. Then in the 80s, we were all grown up, so we had a new series. And just check out these titles. We had the Brady Bunch, then we had the Brady Kids, and then we had the Brady Girls Get Married, and then the Brady Brides.
Oh, I saw that. Then I remember seeing that when I was
a very Brady Christmas. And then in the 80s, we were grown up, and they were really stuck for the title of the series. So they called it The Bradys.
Oh, genius.
Yes. There was no end to the creativity and the imagination of the production team. That was the 80s. Then we thought it was all gone away, but then the 90s happened.
Right.
And so then we had Brady Bunch, the movie, followed by the Brady Bunch, the sequel.
Oh, I saw I have a funny story about the Brady Bunch because I didn't want to talk about it too much, but when I was younger, my sisters were obsessed with the show, right? And so this would have been in the mid-'80s or so. And every day when I came home from my little paper route, they had it on. And as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh, I want to watch...
anything else.
I want to watch anything else. Right?
Right.
They love that, and they love the Monkees, right?
Hey,
they were both on
Nickelodeon
at the time.
Cool.
And I'm like, seriously, guys, come on. Like, anything else. So then when the movie came out, somehow they tricked me into going to it. And
well, they told you it was Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got there, and then
but I thought it was really good.
The first one was quite good.
Yeah,
first one was.
I was very. Did you appear in the
I did.
first one? Yeah. And I thought
I played the guy. I played the producer. the record producer, and Greg Brady wanted to get his new single, Clowns Never Laughed Before, recorded, and I told him to go fishing.
Go fishing, which is now what your son does.
Right,
so,
right, exactly.
Oh, there's all these premonitions back then of what was going to
Clowns
happen.
never laughed before, starships never
I
flew.
remember that. I remember that.
Ponies never ran before, till I met you.
So you're going to make it a hit now. So.
I'm thinking about putting it in the show, but dressing it up and making it a rap.
You could, and dress as a woman.
Yes.
That used to be a king.
Right, yes.
And now a queen.
Yes.
So there you go. But no, I remember all that. I remember the movies. And even now on your Facebook page and stuff, I see where you have the reunions that come up all the time. And they seem insanely popular.
Right. We have like Brady Bunch weekend, and they go, these kind of like Comic-Con things where you go and people come and share their memorabilia and their stories of
And
the
they know
Brady
everything
Bunch.
about it, don't they?
More than I do.
Yeah, it's
and I wrote the book.
Yeah. Really?
I wrote the Growing
Like
Up Brady.
literally.
Wrote the book. Did you not know? Best-selling New York Times best-selling author.
Yes, of course I knew that. Yeah.
I
Well, it got mixed in with the cartoon. And
I
Megapro
also made Growing Up Brady. I produced it as a 2-hour movie for NBC in 2001, and that's the last sort of Brady thing that's been on TV.
on television. Oh, it'll come back. I'm sure. They need to have like another series. Like
I don't think so. I think we've done it. No, I think we've done
You're
it.
over it.
Well, and Robert Reed is no longer with us.
Oh, true. Now, do you remain close with the rest of the cast?
Yes, all of them, in fact. I
that's cool.
speak and see all of them. And most are in California. Eve Plum is in New York. I'm here in Branson. And the youngest, Bobby Michael Lookenland, is in Utah. Everybody else is in California. But we speak pretty often.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
There's this new thing that's come out that's made communication really quite a bit more convenient. Cell phone.
Cell phones.
There is a cell phone. It's a device, and some of us older folks are catching on to it.
That's cool.
And you can both speak audibly. And you can actually, they call it text message.
But isn't that weird? I thought we invented phones so we didn't have to write to each other.
Yes,
and so now we write to each other on our
this
phones.
is technology, though. Now it's all backwards.
Yeah. Well, that kind of segues into something I wanted to ask you, because you grew up during an interesting time where there were all these family shows on. I think around that time you probably had the Partridge Family on, and the Monkees were on, and all these things. It's changed so much now. Now we don't have a lot of scripted TV. We have the reality shows that we were talking about. Plus, the internet has changed entertainment so much, where you worked really hard to get your acting, get your agent, and get off the ground, where now everyone seems to be an actor. You just post a video online that's 40 seconds, and you think you're an actor. And so...
Yeah, we'll see how that works out for these people.
I know. You don't make money at it.
No,
I've tried.
Yeah, I know.
Tried.
You really don't make a lot of money, and you are the flavor of the week. Just ask The Bachelor.
Yeah, that's my complaint about reality shows, because they've come to Branson and they recruit people for America's Got Talent. And we talk about this a lot. I interview a lot of the people that have been on these shows, The Voice, America's Got Talent. You're basically giving the producers free talent, because you're going on there and those shows are a commercial now for the end product. No
question about it.
Yeah, the entire thing is people pay to vote. They get commercial money for this, and all the producers are doing is setting you up to buy the album that comes out at the end. It's basically a 13-week commercial.
And they are the ones who own it, lock, stock, and barrel. And talk to people from Idol, from American Idol. They have no life, and they're owned completely. And when they go out on tour, and if they're selling out, the producers of the television show are the ones that are making the money, not the artist.
And they get first dibs. Like, if they tell you they have a gig for you, you pretty much have to go and do it. You have to.
Yeah.
And so I've been approached a few times, and I say, no thanks. I have a job already.
Right.
And you look at the contract, and it's just so restrictive. But I think the day and age of these reality shows like that is going. Because I just saw where American Idol, this is the last season, where they just wrapped it up. And so I think a lot of those are going away.
I frankly hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I really do. But there are some great scripted television series now. I'm following House of Cards.
Oh yes, I'm obsessed with that show.
I just love that show. Better Call Saul.
Oh yeah.
Now there are others that I keep hearing about, but I don't have HBO. So like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I understand is wonderful.
Castle stuff
and Scandal. There's some terrific shows that are on and scripted, and I'm much more comfortable with those.
Yeah, me too. But here's the interesting thing about those that I point out, because in my show I do a lot of jokes about people on the internet now, and I say as a variety performer, I have to keep my bits down to 45 to 90 seconds.
Yes.
Or else I lose the attention span. And so I do a whole bit.
I'm sorry, did you say something? What?
Yeah, exactly. So you need to come see the show, because I do a bit where I watch for somebody on their phone, and then I do an entire bit destroying that phone.
Perfect.
For the show. And the entire time I say, now we sit when we're out to eat on our phones, and you're with your kids, and what are you telling them? There's something somewhere, I don't know what, that's more important than a conversation with you right now. And I think that's terrible.
Everybody looks down. Mm-hmm. Nobody looks up.
No. And with those shows you're mentioning, because Better Call Saul is one of my favorites, and House of Cards, we can't get enough of that. I think it's brilliant.
So many layers. On so many layers.
Yeah. It's just such good writing. And Kevin Spacey, come on. He's good in everything.
And there is great writing, but they don't have to use much imagination for their plot lines.
Right.
Because they take them right out of the headlines.
Now.
I mean,
especially now. But here's the thing about those shows, is those are all shows that come out in bulk for the most part.
Love it.
And
love it.
You like to do that? You
binge.
You binge watch them?
Absolutely.
We do
Give
too.
me a Sunday. Give me a Sunday when especially if it's rainy, because otherwise I'm out on the lake. But a Sunday I can start and just work it in. Grab a couple, then lunch.
Right.
Grab
That's
a couple more, take a little walk, come back, and then for dessert, episode 5.
Yeah. This is how lazy we are. We love Walking Dead. We're obsessed with zombies and vampires in our family. We dress up as zombies and go around town on the hike. So you see my little 4-year-old twins dressed as zombies walking around.
You have to help me with this, because I've stayed away from it because of the genre. But the people that are devotees of The Walking Dead say, it's no, it's not that. It's really the story. It's really about the people, and it's about the struggle and all of that. And they got some kind of grounding on this that I don't quite understand. Is that true?
It is true, because the play on words is The Walking Dead doesn't refer to the zombies. It refers to the people that are just walking around, the live people that are walking around, and what are we going to do?
Yeah, I see.
What are we going to do? We're just trying to get through the day.
Because
They're the Walking Dead.
The ones that are dead,
the
ones that really are dead, they know exactly what they want to do, and they want to eat you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We took my kid's little tyke scar, the little orange and yellow one, and camouflaged it and put biohazard symbols all over it, and dressed them up as zombie hunters with little Nerf crossbows. And then my wife and I were zombies pulling the kids with chains on, like we were their...
I hope I don't run into you on a trail. It would scare the heck out of me. How old are the kids?
4. They're twins.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah, but we love that stuff. But we do the same thing. What I was going to say is we're so lazy now, we don't even watch it when it's on TV. We wait until the whole series comes out as a block, and then we get it on Amazon, and we can just spend a Sunday and watch all of them.
Boy, start and stop. I love that.
As we wrap up, we always like to let our listeners know things that you enjoy doing with the family here in town. Mm-hmm. And I've run into it at Pischetti's. You can't, that giant meatball thing. Mm-hmm. But what if your son's in town or you have time off, what are some of your favorite attractions other than the show here, of course?
Well, I'd say first and foremost is Table Rock Lake. Mm-hmm. I love the lake and just about everything about it. Now, my son will fish. I like to water ski. He likes to wakeboard. We're jumping off the rocks. We like to swim, period. Yeah. I love to just go out and float. So that's a big part of my summertime, and I have a nice lake boat, open bow lake boat. So I bring friends, and that's really cool. I like to ride. The extreme go-karts, killer. Yeah. I love the extreme go-karts.
I'm doing that this weekend. So.
I will go to Silver Dollar City just to walk around. Just to walk around, enjoy it. And that's both at Christmas time, but also in the summer. And sometimes I'll grab something to eat, sometimes not. Sometimes I will just go to ride one of the roller coasters and leave. That's
right.
It's just
sometimes I'll run in and eat.
Because I can. I like... hiking, and I've been introduced to something that I didn't. 2 things. One is spelunking. That's cave exploration. And
there's a lot of caves around here.
There are a lot of caves around here, and also the kayaking on some of the rivers.
We do that. Yeah.
And it's the most beautiful way to see, to kind of journey through the water I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
So those are mostly the activities, kind of outdoorsy stuff and hanging out. You, by the way, are a very good host and MC and magician.
I really enjoyed your. You'll have to come back out since you enjoy the lake so much. Very nice to talk with you, and thanks for listening to All Things Branson. This is Christopher James. Bye bye.
Bye bye.